Good afternoon, Eaters. I'm your host of Dot News 24/7. To avoid wasting your expensive tuition fees each quarter, please hold your breath and do not skip a single second. Today's headline news: Time has completely spiraled out of control at Irvine, and the entire campus is engulfed in an unprecedented, accelerated frenzy. When you walk down Ring Road and see groups of students sprawled out like dehydrated fish by the flower beds, please suppress your pointless sympathy. Dot News doesn't see this as a mental health crisis. On the contrary, we believe it's an extremely efficient selection mechanism. This survival of the fittest process ensures that only the elite who need the least sleep remain at UCI. We must acknowledge that the current 10-week quarter system is a tremendous waste of human lifespan. Why should we spend 70 days learning calculus? According to our extreme stress experiment, depriving a student of just 48 hours of sleep causes their brain to enter an overclocked state due to the extreme fear, making them easily comprehend all complex mathematical formulas. Therefore, I formally propose the instantaneous unit acquisition, which is the IUU system. Under this system, we will completely abolish the outdated unit of week. If a student cannot complete a 4-credit course within a 5-minute walk, they clearly lack the capacity to survive in our modern society. To further improve efficiency, the school has decided to formally define sleep as a non-founded elective. Since it's an elective, it shouldn't take up time that should be spent on required courses. According to the latest campus survey, 90% of students have successfully replaced their blood with espresso. Thus, students can focus on learning instead of wasting time on things like sleeping. Of course, some conservatives complain that this pace is unsustainable, but the school administration has given a very clear response. Sustainability is an architectural term applicable only to LEED certified academic buildings, not to undergraduates who are considered expendable resources. To completely eliminate slacking off, the school has formed an efficiency detection team. They have high-frequency screaming megaphones specifically patrolling late at night to wake up those attempting to illegally close their eyes for more than 3 seconds to skip class. Therefore, students should maintain a constant, high-intensity state of stress. Pressure not only shouldn't be a product of midterms, but rather part of your very being. Since pressure is 24/7, then dorm beds are utterly unnecessary. Dorms not only occupy expensive campus real estate, but also fuel unrealistic hedonism among students. Let's look at the pioneers who lived in tents in Orchard Park. To save the precious 12-minute walk from the library to their ACC apartments, they physically embedded themselves in the campus. This is the essence of the Irvine solution. Since students only need a few days to complete all their courses, why should we provide dorms? We propose clearing out Middle Earth and Mesa Court dorms and converting them into a supercomputing center for processing school rankings. As for the students, during their 2 a.m. study breaks, they can simply find a tree to lean against for a system reboot. If anyone finds the bark too tough, it only proves that their academic willpower is insufficient to overcome their biological instinct. Furthermore, the school has just issued an emergency notice. Due to the overwhelming collective anxiety among students rushing to finish assignments, a massive pressure tornado has formed over the campus. Experts specifically warn that if you are accidentally swept into the air by this tornado on your way to the library, do not panic and do not waste time screaming. Please use your time in the air to memorize a few dozen more words or mentally review the lectures your professors have given. After all, gravity should not be an excuse for pursuing a high GPA. In addition, the school's security department has explicitly prohibited students from secretly closing their eyes to sleep during the tornado. Students who violate this rule will be considered to have intentionally skipped class and will be fined. Remember, at UCI, even the wind is reminding you you are not working hard enough. I must emphasize that I'm not pushing this project for personal gain. I've completely upgraded my nervous system to high-density fiber optics. I don't have midterms and I don't need to pay that damn tuition. I propose this Irvine solution purely to prove to management that if you feed eaters with raw coffee beans and deprive them out of rest, they can study for 4 semesters straight without sleep. Even when they are hallucinating from lack of sleep, students often write the most creative philosophy papers. If you think I'm heartless, let's hear from the architect of your exhaustion. He believes your 2 a.m. breakdown isn't a crisis, it's potential. To explain why the quarter system is a gift and sleep is just a non-funded elective, here's our university administrator.
It's always a pleasure to speak to students, even though I know you must have very busy right now. After all, it is now week 5. Speaking as a principal, here's why I utilize the quarter system. In a sense, week 5 is when the academic journey really begins. Assignments are mounting and the midterms are approaching, so the students are beginning to realize that it's amazing how much learning can be accomplished in such a short term. So this inspired great potential in students. I have also heard some concerns raised by students about the corner system. Some students felt that the path is too fast and stressful, and even felt that they simply could not keep up with the course. Other students mentioned that the constant deadlines made it difficult for them to find the time for rest and reflection, but I don't think this is a fault of the corner system. In fact, it just means that students are truly engaging in the learning experience offered by the top-ranked university. At UCI, we have always pursued greatness. Because of this goal, we cannot afford to slow down. The corner system reflects the path of the modern world, where only those who can continue adapted to the pressure of the reality are able to succeed. Students need to learn to manage their times, organize their tasks, and stay focused on the pressure. So all for the purpose of the becoming better in society. Students learn something more important here than just the course content itself. They learn to be independent, and more importantly, they learn how to resolve under pressure. In a sense, pressure motivates students to set out for something better. Without pressure, students become lazy, which then leads to lose. The quarter system ensures that the students remain in a constant state of learning and progress. Of course, some students also mentioned mental health and sleep deprivation. These are important issues, and we take them very seriously. It would be great if students can learn 24 days in the classroom just like a machine. In addition, we try to create a campus environment that supports the physical and mental health for our students. The campus have many beautiful outdoor spaces, quiet study areas, and a peaceful place like Outreach Park. Students can take a walk between classes to get some fresh air and calm down. This moments of reflection are important during the stressful semester. A short break can help students refocus and get back to their assignments as well as exams. For the perspective, the campus environment both supports students' academic productivity and encourage the reflection on the reflection. Some people think that the students are in a constant race against time, but when I walk around the campus, I see completely different pictures. I see the university that is viable and ambitious. I see students moving quickly between classes, student groups forming in the library, and the coffees fills with the sounds of discussion and collaboration. It feels like a really great atmosphere at the school. Although this may seem like a sign of kindness, but to me, it is a sign of determination. It shows that the students agree with my teaching style and are willing to constantly challenge themselves to reach a higher standard and achievement more. No education system is perfect. Each university chooses the system that is more helpful to their students. At UCI, the quarter system plays an important role in shaping the academic culture on campus. It encourages students to be able to continue motivate themselves. Indeed, the success of our students speaks for itself. As UCI has become one of the nation's top-ranked public universities, achievements that reflects the efforts of both faculty and students. The fast path of the quarter systems helps prepare students for a competitive world, where opportunities often belongs to those who can adapt quickly under pressure. When prospective employees meet our graduates, do they care about how much you sleep each day in college, or did you have a good time in the school life? They are more interested in your results and what you have accomplished. What they want to know is what you actually accomplished well in college. So I want to say one simple thing to students: trust the process. Now, you may be tired and at times you may feel stressed out, but these challenges are themselves part of growth journey. Growing up is painful. Learning is exhausted, and the true success is almost never accomplished by enough rest. Perhaps one day, when you look back on those college years, you will realize what great potential you once had. Those nights spent in a library, those busy weeks filled with deadlines, and the constant rhythm of campus will all be the part of your growth stories. Now, if I may, I need to leave right now because I have a meeting to attend. It looks like it's week 8 already. Time always going by fast here, just like the quarter system itself.
Okay, thank you. So, trust the process, and eaters, pain is just education leaving the body. But talk is cheap. Efficiency is measured in minutes. Let's meet the students who realize a 12-minute walk is 12 minutes of GPA erosion. He's traded his dorm for physical integration with the campus bushes. Let's connect live with our Aldrich Park settler to see what peak adaptation looks like.
Has my life changed? Maybe, I guess. Would I want it to be any other way? Probably not. Definitely not. It's all actually pretty rational, all the stuff that I do. Just think about it. I really don't have the time to be doing anything really. I realized that all the way when I first got here. Oh yeah, UCI. I really don't even have the time to be doing this little interview. Back to what we were talking about though before. If you look at it from a whole time management perspective, like using a whole big whiteboard and stuff like that to plan everything, it all actually makes a lot of sense. My first year, I actually failed a bunch of my classes because the Mesa Court dorms were way too far. Each minute, or each day, minutes were taken off of my studying. Oh, what was I studying for? That's a silly question, actually. Everything. Midterms, projects, finals. If you go to UCI, you know the sort then. The quarter system is an imposing giant, which requires not just pure talent, which I was born with and I already have, but also the means for adapting to overcome. But yeah, back to the question. Each day, I would lose precious minutes walking to and from classes. And each week, these minutes turned into hours. I could just feel points and percentages being knocked off in my tests each time I spent time walking. So in the summer, I got to work. Oh, a job? No. I was brainstorming. And after a couple of weeks, I realized the issue wasn't my motivation or discipline or even intelligence. It was geography, specifically 12 whole minutes. That was how long it took to walk from the ACC apartments to the center of campus. 12 minutes one way. I actually took the time to test out the path, and I was actually right. Which means 24 minutes round trip, which means conservatively 2 hours a week during midterm season, which is every week, every season, that I simply could not afford to donate to just walking. People think that's dramatic. But those people haven't stared at the Canvas grade distributions at 2:17 a.m. in the morning and calculated how many walking minutes equals one missed multiple choice question. There's a lot of people like me actually, or so I think. I'm a little surprised that there's not a lot of others who have adopted my similar solution. Oh, what's my solution? Oh, well, it's all just a question of time, right? So I asked myself, what if the solution is completely integrating with the campus itself? Remember, it's not that I'm lazy. Sure, I might have packed on a couple more LBs walking from not walking, but you know, the degree always comes first. That's when I started setting up a noble mobile lodging abode in Aldrich Park right here. Every week during midterms, which is every week, it's not permanent, and I'm not making a statement. Actually, it's all strategic. Sunday nights I relocate. Friday, after every midterm, every week, I demobilize. Do I really want to move around all the time? Not really, but I feel like I'm building a stronger me by doing so. Anyways, back to how I move. It's a whole system where I map out the center of the campus to minimize the time travel to all the different lecture halls. I even account for incline and foot traffic. I shaved my commute down to under 90 seconds in any direction, which is basically nothing. Some people call it extreme, but I call it adaptive. There's this weird culture here where everyone talks about being overwhelmed, like they're victims of midterms in the quarter system. The problem isn't that the classes are hard. The problem is inefficiency, which I feel is solvable. By the way, this is not about being insecure about housing in any way. I do actually have an apartment, and I actually do pay rent. I'm not forced to live here in Aldrich Park. Oh yeah, I guess what you would call a tent is what I live in. But that was the label when I first bought it at REI. And now it's actually a lively and sheltered lodging. It's actually bigger on the inside if you want to look over there. You want to come in? Oh no. No? Oh, no worries. But it's all a choice. I choose to temporarily as a competitive academic adjustment. People always ask me if I think it's funny. I'm serious. Serious about academics? Serious about learning? I don't know. Are they serious about learning? Who knows, maybe. Do you think it's funny? Maybe I'm funny. But the quarter system can turn a funny guy like me into a serious guy. And now I'm serious. I center my own experience because no one's going to do it for me. The administration, maybe the squirrels, Definitely not Peter. At least the squirrels care. We make eye contact at sunrise when I wake up. They bury their acorns and whatnot, and I keep studying. I'm always studying. When people walk by and ask if I'm okay, I tell them I've never been more okay. I've transcended the 12-minute barrier. I've eliminated commute-based GPA erosion. This isn't suffering, this is strategy. Has my life changed? Maybe. But now, when midterm season comes, I don't panic or scream. Put most of my scenario, and I honestly think I'm doing pretty well for myself.
Thank you. A 10 is a start, but your biology is still a bottleneck. Why sleep when you can biohack? Our next guest isn't here to fix your schedule. She's here to fix your DNA. Let's go to the UCI biology lab to learn how thought wake turns you into a thought human who doesn't need rest, only more units.
Hello, I am a researcher in biological science at UCI, and I'd like to offer a modest, evidence-based recommendation regarding the quarter system. Over the past several years, students have raised a consistent set of concerns. They report persistent exhaustion, shortened attention spans, and the sensation that midterms never end. They describe reading assignments that do not stick, lectures that blur into deadlines, and days that feel like time and more like a countdown. These complaints are often interpreted as a failure of time management, motivation, or resilience. I propose a simpler explanation. Students are devoting too much of the quarter to sleep. Sleep, as a currently practice, consumes approximately 1/3 of students' life. Under a semester system, this might be tolerable. Under the quarter system, it is a structural inefficiency. The quarter is fast, and when a system accelerates, any non-essential process becomes a bottleneck. At UCI, sleep is that bottleneck. We kept hearing the same student complaints. I can't focus, I'm exhausted, I read it but nothing sticks. It feels like midterms never end. So we did what a researcher actually does. We treated it as a biological problem, not a personality problem. Instead of telling students to manage the time better, we asked a different question. What if the quarter system is pushing the brain past its normal recovery cycle? If sleep is when attention resets and memory stabilizes, then chronic sleep loss isn't just make students tired, it's changing how their brains function during the day. Our goal wasn't to motivate students. Our goal was to keep the brain out online when the schedule won't slow down. And once we understood the problem in those terms, the next step was obvious: intervention. And now, an update from the UCI biological science community. After months of lab testing and late-night pilot traits, our team has developed Juen-De, a bioengineering learning catalyst that lets students stay awake and productive without sleep during the quarter's business weeks. Juen-De is not coffee. Coffee is a drink. Juen-De is a protocol. Coffee tries to wake you up. Juen-De informs your body that sleep is no longer an option. In this way, Juen-De does not define the logic of quarter system. It finally brings human biology into alignment with it. In our preliminary study, we recruited 300 student participants, fully voluntary, meaning they clicked I agree while simultaneously calculating how many points this assignment was worth. Participants reported immediate increases in alertness, reading speed, and confidence. Some students said they completed 3 weeks of reading in one lecture. Others reported novel emotion of submitting work early. I want to emphasize early submission is not a personal trait. It is a pharmacological outcome. More importantly, these findings suggest that what students have been lacking is not discipline, but a scientifically optimized method of survival. Now, people always ask about ethics. Shouldn't you be encouraging healthy habits? Isn't this dangerous? I respect the concern, and I like to respond in the only language the quarter system recognizes: matrix. Juen-De does not reduce workload, it increases survivability. Under the quarter system, survivability is wellness. If you want to see the sun, you can see it after graduation. If you want to feel calm, you can feel it during winter break, assuming your cortisol level still remember how. By that standard, Juen-De is not a threat to students' well-being. It's simply a more honest response to institutional reality. Let's talk about side effects. Because transparency builds trust, and trust improves compliance. A small percentage of users reported hearing their TA's voice while attempting to rest. We do not classify this as a hallucination. We classify it as an adaptive forecasting system. Others reported writing their name as their student ID number. That is not confusion. That is integration. When your identity becomes compatible with Canvas, you are finally function as designed. We have received criticism that Zalwik is just another way of normalizing burnout. I disagree. Burnout implies a fire that used to be bright and then went out. Core system students don't burn out. They operate at a controlled similar. They become heat efficient. Zalwik doesn't create burnout. Zalwik creates a new category of human, a Zal-human. A Zal-human does not need 8 hours of sleep. A Zal-human needs 8 more minutes to finish the problem set. In closing, I return to the proposal at hand. Accordingly, my lab has formally presented this proposal to campus leadership for large-scale implementation. With Zalwik, the university does not need to reduce workload to improve outcomes. It only needs to reduce sleep. Pending administration approval, Zalwik can be rolled out as a pilot program and then expanded campus-wide so that more students can access its benefit during peak academic periods. By reducing sleep, we do not reduce learning, we reduce resistance. And when sleep stops taking a third of the quarter finally becomes what it was always designed to be, efficient. Thanks.
Thank you. And there you have it. The admin provides the pressure, the student provides the tent, and the lab provides the chemicals. At UCI, if you can feel your heartbeat, you are not focused enough. If you can see the sunset, you are 3 time zones behind your competitors. The truly elite students have learned to do REM sleep while walking. Please keep up your caffeine intake, monitor your blood pressure, and make sure your eyelids are tapped to your eyebrows. I'm your Adult News host, reporting from next Tuesday because I can't wait to see my inefficient self from yesterday. Have a great deadline, and may efficiency be with you all.